All right, baby, it's Euros time. We're gonna go through the Euros. We're gonna make predictions. I'm excited. Let's do it. Group A, Germany, That's wait. That's the fastest I've ever gotten into anything, ever, and I ruined it. Anyways, Group A, Germany, Switzerland, Scotland, Hungary. This is an assassin's group, in my opinion. Nobody else believes me. I think this group is super mine laden, right? You better step carefully if you are Germany, okay? Because you are going up against some teams that are just ergonomically designed to cause you problems. All right, Germany opens against Scotland. Everybody knows Scotland doesn't have a lot of talent and they're short. But Scotland has a great system and they play hard and they play well within that system. And it's those types of teams, right, that actually end up causing really significant problems for teams at tournaments, a la Iceland, which was a less talented team than Scotland is. Let's be honest. There's no Andy Robertson, right? There's no Tierney walking through the door for Iceland, right? Where Scotland, they have a better team. They've got guys that have been in the national team for a long time and a system that's been in place and been effective, and they're at a high watermark. This feels like Wales with Gareth Bale to me, right? The type of team that rolls into a tournament, right? A tournament that they, unlike teams even like Switzerland that feel like they are ordained to be able to play at these tournaments all the time. Scotland's not. Wales hadn't been at a Euros in 50-something years, and that didn't stop them from being able to get all the way to a semifinal. And, Hal Robson-Kanu just Cruyff turning his way through the entire country of Belgium. I think Scotland might have the opportunity to do something similar. At the very least, now that it has won Euros under its belt, a Euros where it played really hard and competitively but wasn't able to find a goal, like the goal. I think it could cause problems. I'm not going to, look, I think Germany's going to win the opening game, but I wouldn't be nearly as surprised as most other people if Scotland drew that match a hearty 0-0 or a 1-1 with a goal off of a corner or a McGinn banger, something like that. Now, Scotland is missing Dykes. It's striker. He is out with an injury. The guy was really a catalyst at points for this national team in the past. But he is not there, which means Shea Adams is probably going to be the guy that has to step up unless there's something else up the sleeve here. But that's just the beginning, because then you have Switzerland. Right now, Switzerland is, in my opinion, one of the weirdest national teams in the world because they get no respect, right? And I don't think they should get any respect. When you think Switzerland, there's no world-class players there. Xherdan Shaqiri is like 5 foot, 6 inches of vibes, right? But he's not a world-class player. Switzerland is, on the other hand, a national team that has produced consistent results that would make Germany very jealous over the last decade or so. They've been to the World Cup knockouts 4 of the last 5 World Cups, which is absolutely insane considering that before that run started, they had been to 1 World Cup since 1970, and they'd only been to the knockouts of the World Cups 2 times ever, including the one they hosted in 1954. So this is not a national team that was used to being great, but this generation, the way the FA is run, clearly it's all very effective. They get the most out of their talent, and as a result, there's a very cohesive unit here. It feels a little bit like maybe like the best Dutch teams, where obviously there isn't that top edge world-class talent, but there's a consistent group of players that are clearly able to beat some of the best teams in the world that have been there for a long time. Yeah, somebody like Fabian Schär, right? Obviously Xherdan Shaqiri, Granit Xhaka, players whose names are immediately drawn up. Everybody loves Jan Sommer. Ricardo Rodriguez feels like he's been there forever. You just can't sleep on him. For crying out loud, they beat France and got to the quarterfinals at the last Euros. We remember how good France is, right? And then there's Hungary. If you go to the qualifying for the Euros, Hungary won its group. Now, I know it was like the softest group in qualifying, but still winning a qualifying group going into a tournament, so hard to do in Europe because it's normally won by the big, like Spain and Italy and maybe a Croatia in there. Hungary doesn't win qualifying groups. Serbia was supposed to win this group, and they just coughed it up. Hungary didn't lose in qualifying. And you know what? Well, last time Hungary was at the Euros, Dominik Szoboszlai was not there. 3 years later, he's there. So this group is a spicy hot tamale. Now, I am going to pick Germany to finish first because I am a coward. But do not be surprised if this group gets incredibly muddled and messy with a lot of draws, right? And a lot of physical hard play, because these are, 3 teams in Switzerland, Scotland, and Hungary that are going to struggle to score, but they are not going to struggle to play with Germany. So if Germany cannot separate with its forward play, right? Like if Fuel Krug is not firing on all cylinders here and Kai Havertz isn't glancing headers in far post, this could get uncomfortable. Now, the team I'm going to pick to finish second, I'm going to go Hungary. I think that we're hitting a high water mark here. I'll go Scotland third, Switzerland fourth. I'm uncomfortable with that because Switzerland is just so damn consistent. But Switzerland had a pretty tepid qualifying campaign, and I just feel like that moment is coming for Scotland, if you couldn't hear that from the way I was talking about it before. Group B is Italy, Croatia, Spain, and Albania. Albania got fucked with this group. We can toss them out the window. Love the fact they were able to make it here. Would be stunned if they managed to accomplish anything in this group and mix it up with the big boys. Spain, look, that performance in the World Cup was simultaneously great and unconvincing. They can embarrass a Costa Rica, but can you do it on a rainy night in Stoke or against like an actually good team in an international tournament? We haven't found that out yet from this generation, right? Italy, we have. Right, but they're a weird team. Nobody knows how to feel about Italy because they missed the World Cup, won the Euros, and then missed the World Cup. I don't know how you quantify that either. What I do know is that Croatia has been consistently good for a long time. I also know this is very likely Luka Modric's last major international tournament. And even though we don't feel it in the international media, there will be a very similar reaction from the players on Croatia to the way Lionel Messi was treated. Luka Modric being their god, their deity, and you will literally die on the field to try and propel him forward. I am going to go with the surprise pick for Croatia to finish first. I'll go Italy second, Spain third. Wouldn't be surprised if Spain could find that form, right? Given the quality and the style of play and the understanding of how to win, right? If Spain can find that form, I wouldn't be surprised by them finishing first. But I've got to make a pick, and I'm going to go Croatia first, Italy second, Spain third, Albania, thanks for playing. Love the flag. But if there was going to be a tournament that Croatia won, outside of them making that World Cup final in 2018, I feel like this has to be the one. They still have a ton of quality. Josko Gvardiol seems to have taken that next step into being a truly bona fide world-class player. I've always liked Kovacic. This is like the last ride for that old guard, but there's a younger, new guard coming in. Croatia, just a damn good national team, right? And look, I mean, maybe this sounds like the way people were talking about Belgium 6 or 7 years ago, where it's like, just a damn good national team. They got to be able to do something, right? But I'm sticking with it. I think Croatia is going to be able to win this group. Italy second, Spain third. How many times do I need to say it? Group C, Slovenia, Denmark, England, Serbia. First of all, England v. Serbia. Just get the riot police out now. I don't know. I've seen a bunch of stuff on Twitter about like England and the English fans being threatened by the Serbian fans, which just basically outside of singing Rule Britannia outside a pub, nothing will bring English people together faster than being threatened by another group of hooligans. Denmark's going to be over there just, I don't know, eating Danish chocolate and whale meat, maybe. I can't even pull a stereotype out. I don't know what they're doing. Slovenia doesn't have Luka Doncic because he plays in the NBA, so they're probably going to have a tough time. But a great showing from Slovenia to be able to get in this tournament. I am picking them last. I'm going to pick England to win the group. I think England's the second best team in this tournament. I would be stunned if they didn't do that. I will go with Serbia over Denmark. That World Cup performance from Denmark has soured me all the way. They finished behind Australia. They have no business doing that. They overpromised and underdelivered. I think Denmark peaked in World Cup qualifying before 2022, and I just don't see them being able to kind of maintain any momentum in this tournament. They had another good qualifying campaign, but their group was an absolute layup. They still lost 2 games. Slovenia nearly finished above them. Kazakhstan had 18 points in this group, man. They're in the same group as San Marino. So I think Denmark's going to be finishing third. Group D, we've got Poland, Austria, France, Netherlands. In my opinion, the best group of the entire tournament. These, quality-wise, are 4 World Cup teams. No doubt in my mind, these are 4 World Cup teams. Lewandowski's got last ride syndrome, right? Very likely going to be his what am I saying? Lewandowski will be at the next World Cup. But, he's getting old. He is the aging talisman. The Netherlands, always good. Always a good national team. If Memphis Depay's not scoring, they're not scoring. They did just call up Joshua Zirkzee. He had a good season at Bologna. He was an emergency call-up. It's kind of why I wait to do this like the day before. because I believe his Broby got hurt or got sick. I don't even know what happened, but Xerxes in the team now. I really like Xerxes, so I think he might have a breakout tournament, take some of the pressure off Memphis Depay. France, the best team in this tournament. The only thing that's going to stop the French national team is complacency. They've been to 2 consecutive World Cup finals, right? Like they have played and gone through the biggest stage. The Euros somehow feels like some sort of a downgrade for them. But obviously Kylian Mbappe and co would love to win it. And then Austria, they've got David Alaba, but he's not the only player. They've got they've got a couple of guys I like. I've always, what is his name? Clearly I don't like him that much. Well, Maxi Weber. I really like Maxi Weber. They've got Christoph Baumgartner, Konrad Leimer, who was fantastic for Bayern this season. Sabitzer's obviously a good player. I was thinking of Seiwald, who's a great young midfielder, really been coming into his own. And of course, Marko Arnautovic, who's one of those guys, one of those weird freaks that just shows up in major international tournaments and makes you remember his name. The unfortunate thing is one of the teams in this group is actually going to have to miss out. And kind of weirdly, I'm thinking it's going to be Poland. I'm on Poland 4, Austria 3, Netherlands 2, France 1. Just because I'm picking it normal, I think this is going to be a great group. Literally every matchup in this group should give us a good match. And Group D I will take no arguments because Group B's got Albania in it. Look, and I don't mean to be hating on Albania. It's awesome you're in. Enjoy the fact that you're in, right? But if we're looking at Group D, these are 4 teams that I think are very clearly in the best 25 teams in the world if you really are boiling it down. And they're all going at each other at the Euros, and that's the beauty of it. Group E gives us Romania, Belgium, Slovakia, and Ukraine. This is not an interesting group on the surface. Slovakia has not been very good for a while, but they just have this stubborn constant, like they just battle their way into the Euros. They're really not relevant in World Cup qualifying. They haven't been for a little while. But Slovakia just fights its way in, man. They've got 7 wins from 10 matches. Their group was interesting. Luxembourg, Iceland, and Bosnia and Herzegovina would have gone into this group expecting to be able to try and put some pressure on something, but 7 wins from 10, 7 wins from 10. Slovakia has been able to produce a national team of consistent enough quality to get to this point. That being said, I think they're finishing last. Ukraine has shown that they are a fringe World Cup European team for a while now. They're obviously playing for a ton. I don't know if I can put too much weight in that because they've been playing for a ton for a little while and that didn't qualify them for the World Cup. They still lost to Wales, right? So it's not like that's giving them Herculean strength or superpowers or anything, but they obviously are carrying great vibes and a great story and everybody's rooting for them. But they're coming up against a Romania team battling for, the behind Belgium spot here that has really come on to something. I know Romania has been irrelevant for what feels like a long time, but Romania won its qualifying group. Switzerland is obviously the pot 1 team in this qualifying group, and they fumbled the bag. That's kind of why I've soured on Switzerland a little bit. I'm thinking Romania has got something going on. They obviously don't have a lot of well-known kind of household names, but Radu Dragusin obviously going to Tottenham. That guy's got a lot of talent on defense. They've got a sprightly young attacking player. His name's Dennis Mann. He's got some game, but most of the team are unknowns, and that's kind of rare in European qualifying or in the Euros. Like we're talking about Africa, we're talking about Asia, we're talking about CONCACAF. Yeah, you can get these guys that are unknown and completely off the radar all the time, but a good amount of the Romanian teams kind of off the radar, but the results don't lie. I mean, winning a qualifying group in Europe is winning a qualifying group in Europe. It's going to be a real battle between Romania and Ukraine for that second spot. I'm going to take Romania. I'm going to put Ukraine in third, but that is just a brutal toss-up that I don't. Romania could just wilt under the pressure. Maybe out of the spotlight, they were able to perform better, but you come to the Euros and the build-up and the expectation, and Romania's back, and then it just falls apart. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think that teams that have not been at major tournaments for a while get a boost from it because it's not a part of the process. It's a new process. It's a new opportunity. You almost savor it more. Belgium, I will put top of the group just because I think they are a quality cut above the rest of the teams in this group. They'd have to get upset pretty majorly for them to not finish first. And the final group is Group F, Czech Republic, Turkey, Portugal, and Georgia. We've got the debutantes in Georgia. Turkey, the perpetual dark horse. They haven't been performing at a super high level in a long time. The amount of pressure and money and influence. The FA's just always been weird. Kind of feels like a Mexico in Europe. Obviously, the Mexican national team's better than the Turkish national team. But the way that the media and the FA kind of interact with the team, it's always felt a lot more involved and toxic. That's what I meant correlating it with Mexico. And so you just never quite know what Turkey's going to show up. Czech Republic, I mean, I don't even want to call them a dark horse because they could just fade into oblivion like a Slovakia in this tournament. They're old brethren, right? But they're a team that had their golden age and now they are just happy to be at a tournament like this. Very easy group for Portugal, right? Cristiano Ronaldo, probably his last major tournament. I mean, Christ, he's like 38, 39 years old, right? Still scoring bangers, by the way. Don't worry, I saw that goal, but they're finishing first. All right, the next three positions, who the hell knows? There's an automatic spot to the knockouts at the Euros available for Turkey, Czech Republic, or Georgia, just automatically. Now, Georgia's good. They beat Greece, a pretty darn talented Greek team, former European champions Greece in the playoff to get into this position. Czech Republic did finish ahead of Poland in Euros qualifying by 4 points, which is at least worth mentioning. And Turkey did finish ahead of Croatia in World Cup qualifying. Granted, World Cup qualifying, in Euros qualifying by 1 point. Obviously, I'm loving what Croatia is capable of. And if I'm trying not to be a hypocrite, that means I should take Turkey to finish second because they had the best qualifying campaign. But I am going to go ahead and be a hypocrite. I think I'm going to go Czech Republic second, Turkey third, Georgia fourth. I would love to see Georgia make it to the knockouts. The fact that they're a debutante in the Euros, that is always a particularly special moment. The Georgian fans are going to be rabid. The players are going to be near in tears when the anthem plays at a major tournament for the first time. But I'm thinking the Czech Republic has got a little bit more going on. Turkey, I'm just betting on Discord. If Turkey is all there, if they are mentally all there and they've got a cohesive strategy and all the players are bought in, Turkey should be the second place team in this group. But I'm betting on one of the wheels falling off the wagon and Czech Republic snaking a second spot. Maybe with one win and a draw, 4 points. But now I got to pick a winner, and I would look. France is the best team. England's the second best team. I feel very comfortable in saying that. I know England lost to Iceland, but I think Germany is probably the third best team in this group, or in this whole group of teams at this Euros. And they're hosting the tournament, and they've been down in the dumps for a long time. And my good friend Julian Gressel, who was born in Germany, even though he plays the U.S. national team now and he's lived in the U.S. for a long time. We do the podcast together, the Player Manager podcast. If you haven't listened to it, Julian plays it under Miami with Messi, so it's very fun. I'm like 1 degree of separation from Messi, which I just need to work into every conversation apparently. But Julian talking about the feeling of hope. It's like the complete opposite of what you hear from English people talking about their national team. Like the German people, right? At least the Julian having his finger on the pulse. They are excited. They believe this is the time to turn it around. I believe in Julian Nagelsmann as a coach. I think he's brilliant. And so outside of me saying that France and England are the two most talented teams at the tournament, I'm going to pick Germany to win the whole thing. And that's obviously going out on a limb, but I think there are a lot of things going in their direction. Their group is a minefield, and I think that there is a far from non-zero chance that they finish not first in a group that a lot of people look at and think is pretty easy, but I look at and don't think is that easy. But they get out of that group and they get into the knockouts, and it's one game at a time, and it's Nagelsmann and the quality that Germany has and the optimism and the excitement of the German people behind them, and it builds up and builds up into each round. I think that France gets a little complacent. I think England gets FM'd because that's just what they do. And I think Germany is able to win this tournament. But if you guys want a dark horse pick, I'll go ahead and give you a dark horse pick. If Croatia doesn't count or if Portugal doesn't count, I think Portugal obviously having a super easy group helps because you can just kind of you throw them up almost to the quarterfinal because they're going to be able to walk their way there. In Croatia and Portugal might be too good. You're looking for a true dark horse pick. If you want a true dark horse pick, I try, but I don't think there's anybody else there. I think my dark horse to win the whole thing would be Croatia or Portugal, if you would count that. I think both those teams, I would give a better than 5% chance to win the entire tournament. Because, let's be honest, a lot of the big European teams, whether it be Spain or Germany, they're not at the peak of their powers, right? England somehow never at the peak of their powers. It feels like France is the only national team that is at the peak of its powers. Even Netherlands and Belgium feel like they're waning. So why not Croatia? They've been as good, if not better, than a lot of those teams over the last decade to begin with. But I can't wait to watch this back and see how I picked literally every single one of these right. The Euros start tomorrow. Get excited.